Hi and welcome. You are.
I'm Brenda Gunter.
uh,
I'm the program supervisor for Strengthening Families at Children and Families First.
Now, what is Strengthening Families? What is the Strengthening Families program?
The Strengthening Families programs is a family skill program that involves both parents and youth. They come together and they learn skills on how to get along, how to communicate, how to resolve conflict, how to communicate better, how to solve problems together, how to find their own stress techniques for each other, how to, and for parents, we teach them child development and the necessity for knowing child development because so the parents know what's appropriate for children, their children's ages.
So, let me ask you this. I just want to clarify this. So, you're saying that if a mother has a son or a daughter, teenage or between the ages of kindergarten through fifth grade, they would come to this session to learn how to get along with their child or how to resolve issues? I'm not clear.
Well, and how to enhance their parenting skills. Children and Families First and the Strengthening Families program hadn't noticed that we've forgotten how to be people, and we've forgotten how to be human when it comes to our children. Uh, we have a tendency to believe that our children are our property. Well, they're not. They're human beings just like you. They hurt. They have feelings. When you say things, they're upset. So it's the same exact thing. And I always tell parents, the way you feel about something, that's the way they would feel about it. Because people are people.
I understand. So if a mom or a dad was, or a couple were raising a child and there was some sort of unresolved conflict, now what type of conflict are we talking about though?
When you say unresolved conflict,
Well, something where they're not getting along with the kid. What sort of
it
things
could
would?
be something as simple as they're not listening to me. When I ask them to do something, they never listen to anything that I say. It might not be the fact that they're not listening to you, it might be the way you're communicating it. It also might be that we don't give very good directions. When we do, they're normally something that is so long, nobody remembers it. And as adults, we don't remember things if you tell us 50 things at one time. And then I hope the expectation is not that we're going to remember it, but that, and because we think that that's, because that is the expectation, then we're frustrating ourselves. Then we become upset as parents. But if we learn how to give directions correctly, make them brief, make them direct, and make them clear, then we would see less issues.
So are you saying that if I had a child that was misbehaving in school, for example, I'm getting reports continuously or getting calls from the school continuously about my child's behavior, and I'm finding myself having some or similar issues with the child, not as great as the school. Are you saying that a parent that finds themselves in that situation could benefit by coming to one of these sessions?
Absolutely, they
How?
could benefit. Because once they get there, they're taught skills. And as I said, some of the skills that I had just mentioned previously, or some of the skills that they would learn. When we first start our classes, we started off with something called, and this is for groups from birth to 12 years old. We started off for something called the child's game. And even though we're saying the child's game, it's about giving your child undivided attention. Because the reality is that if I give you the attention you need, that's going to be positive, then you don't need to do, then we'll probably see less of the negative.
Wow. So what happens in a session?
What happens in a session, let me start with, they're 14 weeks long,
Okay.
which is really only 14 days, because most people are like, horrified at the sound of 14 weeks. But it's really just 14 days because they only come once a week. Once they get to session, we have family dinners. They're encouraged to sit together, to have dinner together, because that has, in a lot of families, that is just not happening anymore. Then after the session, if it's a birth to 3 group, they go into something called a play group, where they're encouraged to interact with their children. And you'd be surprised how many people, it's really difficult for them to interact with their children. So if they're there, we're able to coach them along and to give them pointers about what they could do with their children. If they're in a 6 to 11 group, then they do something, the youth go one way, your 6 to 11-year-old will go one way, and you'll go, as the adult, go into another group. But you're taught the exact same skill. At the end of the evening, you come back together and you're allowed to practice that skill through an activity that we do.
I see. So, what happens in the parent group happens in the youth group.
That's
I
absolutely
see.
right.
So, how much does all this cost?
Now, I'm not sure, but I do know that we have funders that support us. However, for our consumers, it costs nothing.
So it doesn't cost anything?
It does not. You just need to bring a willing heart and an open mind.
Oh my goodness. Where and when are these sessions held?
They're held primarily at 809 Washington Street because that's where we're housed at. But we have also been in other locations throughout the city, as we're going to be here at Warner starting this month.
I see. And who facilitates the class?
We have facilitators that are skilled and trained to deliver our curriculum.
Wow. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I would just like to add that I think it's really, I have been doing this for the last 13 years, and I think it's a fantastic program. I support it 100%. I have seen people that have come in and that have really been disgruntled, unhappy, not wanting to be there, not understanding why they would even need to be in a parenting class. You know, I've parented 10 other children or whatever. But once they leave, there is a difference. So if we can make a small difference in people's attitudes about parenting, then we've done our job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.